Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you an OP Ranger Rogue Fighter build guide for Baldur's Gate 3. So, starting off as a rogue gives us a bit more options for skills here, so this can be a nice class to start with, but I think that the fighter has a stronger start and it makes the game a little bit easier if we start as the fighter. For our fighting style, there's a few ones that stand out. If you want to use two-handed weapons, then great weapon fighting is great because this allows you to reroll damage die if you get a 1 or a 2. I think that archery is a good focus of this class since we're adding in ranger, which gives us a +2 to range weapon attacks. Defense can be nice too, gives us a +1 armor class for wearing armor. I think that archery is the best of this. Two-weapon fighting is great too. I'm using 2 weapons for this build in particular. But as we get into our ability points, now if we're starting off, something like this would look pretty good. You could even go a little bit lower, put our dexterity up to like 15, something like that. Even take our constitution to 16. Something like that would be great, but we're going to do this a little bit differently. So, strength potions are super useful. This is if we aren't using strength potions, but if we are going to use strength potions, then you can go with something like this. And if you're the face of your party, this works a little bit better because having higher charisma works best for that. So we're going to focus on that because we're just going to dump strength because we're going to be using strength potions to get a lot of damage out because it's not possible to get a 27 strength without using the potion. So this works best, but again, I showed you the stats there if you're not going to be dumping your strength stat. Now what makes this class so powerful is, I'm going to get into it. Now, the best way to build this out, I think, is to go... We're obviously going to take fighter all the way through. Action surge here is great. And then at our level 3 subclass, I think personally that the battle master is the best one here because we get those superiority die. Some people do like the champion because it does give you a higher chance of hitting a critical, but we can get that through gear, whereas the battle master doesn't really have something that translates over outside of the battle master. So for our maneuvers, there's a few really great ones. I think Riposte is great. When a hostile creature misses you with attack, you can use a die to make a powerful strike that deals an additional 1d8 damage. I think this is the best one that we got here. Rally's nice too for if one of your teammates goes down, you can use rally to bring them back up without having to be right by them. You can just rally them and then they come back. That can be nice. Pushing attack's nice too with the pushback. You can knock people off of cliffs. I do think that precision attack can be pretty nice. You spend X superior die to add the result to an attack roll. So that can just be really nice overall. Menacing attack, I think, is the best one here, as it can frighten your target and pretty much take them out of the fight itself. Goading attack, normally I wouldn't select for this type of build, since we're not being mostly a tank. Disarming attack is really nice too, though. It forces the target to drop the weapon that they're holding. What's nice about that is you can pick up their weapon and then they're basically useless. So frightened attack and disarming attack are 2 really nice ones. Trip attack too can be useful for large targets to take them out of the battle. But I think that this 3 with Riposte is probably the best that we got going here for the fighter. And now, as we get into our level 4, we get to choose our our feat. There's a few really great ones, but I think that honestly, sharpshooter, probably the best choice here. Reason being, we don't lose damage from high ground or from low ground, and ranged weapons give us a +10 damage, -5 attack rolls. So less chance to hit, but way more damage. And that's really nice because we're going to be using dual crossbows, which both get that attack bonus, which is really, really nice. And another option you can go with is ability improvement. And if you didn't dump strength, you can pump up your strength or dexterity a little bit higher. So something like that works pretty swell. Sharpshooter is a really nice feat just for our ranged weapons to deal more damage. At level 5 fighter, this is when we're going to switch to other class because we do get our extra attack here, which is really nice. And just this is where the build starts to get powerful. Level 5 fighter, it just makes sense. Now, level 6, we do get another feat, but I think there's a better way about going about this. So we're going to add in, we can add in either the rogue at this point, but I think it's better to go with the ranger. For our favorite enemy, I think that bounty hunter can be great. Disadvantage on saving throw with ensnaring strike, and we get to find familiar, which gives us a little bit extra defense there. This gives us sacred flame, which is okay. Proficiency in our heavy armor doesn't really make too much sense since we already have it from our first class there. And Keeper of the Veil is okay. These, not the best options, but I think the Bounty Hunter is the best. Gives you proficiency investigation and disadvantage on saving throws against ensnaring strike, which is something that we're going to be taking here. Now, for our natural explorer, I think that either cold resistance or fire resistance being better, take half damage from fire, that's great. So we're going to go with something like that. Find familiar can be okay if you want to have something to take an extra hit away from you, because usually the find familiar will die in this first run. So we're going to go with something like that. For level 2 ranger, we get to add another fighting style. We already have our archery, so adding in defense can be nice, or 2-weapon fighting. When you make an attack with your offhand, you can add your ability modifier to the damage of the attack. That can be pretty great. Depending on what type of weapon that we're using, we are using 2 weapons, but I'm going to go with defense just for that +1 armor class. Can make or break a lot of times your build, so armor class, always nice. We're obviously going to take ensnaring strike, though. That's our crowd control concentration there. And then also Hail of Thorns is not a bad option either for ranged damage. Enhanced Leap or Long Strider is a nice ritual spell that we can cast, and then it just increases our movement speed by 3. So those are some of the better options there. And again, fighting style, defense, but we can also go with 2-weapon fighting if you prefer that. But I think extra armor class is always a nice thing just to have. Ranger level 3, we get to choose our subclass, and for the spell, Long Strider can be nice. Fog Cloud can also be pretty good. It blinds and heavily obscures creatures within it. And for this particular build, I have some items that are going to make this really useful, so I'm going to take that, but Long Strider can be great too. For our subclass, Hunter and Beastmaster both only get good at level 11. The Gloomstalker is great early on, because it gives us the Dread Ambusher, which gives us a +3 to initiative. That's huge. And on the first turn of combat, your movement speed increases by 3 meters. You can make an attack that deals an additional 1d8 damage. So we get that extra attack on our first turn. That also gives us extra damage, which is super nice. We get superior dark vision too with the Gloomstalker, so you can see up the dark up to 24 meters. So that goes alongside the fog that we picked earlier. We get Dread Ambusher, Hide, and Umbral Shroud, which gives us the ability to turn invisible and hide. And we also get Disguise Self. So something like that, Fog Cloud becomes super useful with that, and we're going to take that for our next level. And then we can go into level 4 Ranger here. This is pretty nice, but what we're going to do is we're going to add in our Rogue here. So the Rogue only really comes online at level 3, but with the Rogue level 2, we get bonus or cunning actions, so it allows us to do his bonus actions to dash or hide. That's pretty nice, but level 3 is where the Rogue becomes really powerful. And with Rogue level 3, we get our subclass. Now, 2 great options here. The Assassin has a lot of synergy with the Dreadstalker, or Gloomstalker there. Thief gives us an extra bonus action, and that can actually be really nice, which I'll get into why in a minute, but I'll just talk briefly on the Assassin. Either of these work great. It's up to you what you prefer. The Assassin gives us initiative, so you're deadliest against unprepared enemies. In combat, you have advantage on attack rolls against creatures that haven't taken a turn yet. And we're going to have extra attacks since we're getting the Gloomstalker on first turn, so that's going to be likely against enemies that haven't taken a turn yet. Quite nice. Any attack roll against a surprise creature is a critical hit. That's also really nice and stacks with our other build. And Assassin's Alacrity, quick as an alley cat in the rain, you restore your action and bonus action at the start of combat. The Assassin is great. The Thief is also great. So pick either one of these that you prefer. I like the extra bonus action because we're going to have hand crossbows, so you get an extra attack off with this sharpshooter bonus on it. That's really nice. So we're going to go with that. And the reason I'm picking that is because it just opens up the damage that we're going to be dealing. Now we can any of these is going to give us our feat. So with this, we can take our health to 108, 109, or 1. With this one is 109 as well, and we get to replace a spell if we want to. So take whatever you prefer here. It doesn't make a massive difference. It'd either be Ranger or Fighter. If you want to replace a spell, go Ranger. If you want to just grab the feat, go Fighter. Either of these works pretty great, so it's your own choice, and go with, whatever you feel best. So for the final level, there's a few different feats that we can go with. Alert is really nice just to add the +5 to our initiative and can't be surprised. We're going to have a crazy initiative with that. There's also the choice of going with like heavily armored to give us increased strength, and heavy armor master, so it reduces your damage that you'd be taking, as we're going to be using probably heavy armor. Yeah, I like alert a lot personally myself. We can take our dexterity up higher with the ability improvement or constitution up higher, but the extra initiative cannot be understated how important that is, especially in Act 3. And if you're doing an honor mode run, extra initiative is huge. So with this, we get ourselves a lot of different attack options. So for gear, I like the Assassin of Baal Cowl, gives us dark vision of 3. +2 to initiative rolls is the big thing, and see invisibility is also quite nice. Is there's some areas that have invisible creatures. I like the Deathstalker Mantle. This is only available if you're the Dark Urge, but I would give it to this build in particular because once you kill an enemy, you become invisible for 2 turns. That is huge and very nice, as it can stack with the Assassin subclass of the Rogue. The Shade Slayer Cloak is also nice, reduces the chance you need, or gives you a 5% chance to hit a critical hit. That's quite nice, and that does stack with a lot of the other options here. For our, I'm using light armor here. This gives you the aura Murder. Enemies within 2 meters become vulnerable to piercing damage, so that can be quite nice. Doubles your damage with piercing, but also we can go ahead with some heavy armor too, since we get it from the, our subclass. But there is some medium armor that will give us roughly the same, because we get our +2 from dexterity. So there's a few options that we can go with. Dwarven Splint Mail is nice too, because it gives you a +2 to constitution, so that's an option. But honestly, heavy armor or medium, whatever you prefer. I think that heavy armor does have some issues with stealth checks, so going with a medium armor that is good for stealth, like the Dark Justicier's half plate. What's nice about this is you get advantage on stealth checks, so pretty nice when obscured, and we got fog, so that can be really useful. Dark Justicier Gauntlets gives your weapon attacks to deal 1 to 4 necrotic damage and strength saving throws +1, and you get Beckoning Darkness, which is a necromancy spell, as a bonus action, which is nice because we got a lot of bonus actions. Cursed creature to be haunted by darkness takes 2 to 16 necrotic damage if it enters or starts its turn in a lightly or heavily obscured area, which we're going to be popping often with this build. I also really like the Nightwalkers, Disintegrating Nightwalkers give us Misty Step, so we can teleport around the battlefield as a bonus action. Super useful. Now for the weapons, I like the Knife of the Undermountain King, which gives us a higher chance to hit a critical hit as well. This can stack, and when you roll a 2 damage or less, re-roll the dice, taking the highest result, so just flat out good damage. You have advantage on attack rolls against heavily or lightly obscured targets while using this blade, so this is really great alongside this build. Rhapsody is great as well, get a +1 to attack rolls, damage, and spell save DC for every foe you slay, up to a maximum +3, and possibly inflict bleeding while hitting this creature while hidden or invisible. So both of these work really great while we're obscured. I like using the dual hand crossbows, because again, this one's going to give us possibility to inflict burning on a creature while hidden or invisible. And then with the Firestalker, it deals initial 1 to 4 piercing damage to burning targets. So if we burn them with this will just deal more damage. So this actually works really synergetically, and all these get that extra necrotic damage from the from our armor here, the Dark Justicier's Gauntlets. So that's quite nice. I also like for this build using the Surgeon Subjugation Amulet, which gives us the ability to paralyze a target on a critical hit, and we're going to be critting a lot. Alongside the Killer Sweetheart, which gives us if we kill a creature, we get the ability to hit a critical on next target we attack. Super useful. Sunwalker's Gift, we don't really need this because we do have the dark vision, but if we look at our character sheet here, or I guess right here, yeah, we have the dark vision range up to 24 meters, but we have a whopping 13 initiative. That is huge, and make sure that we're going to be going pretty much first every single time. And then we get all those bonuses from the Gloomstalker Ranger for going first at the start. So this is really nice. It can be a game changer for sure. As far as the gear goes, I guess change out that ring. You have dark vision from the Gloomstalker, so that's really nice. And yeah, I think that can make this a very powerful build in Baldur's Gate 3, as it has the ability to deal damage, and you get a lot of attacks per turn. So we get the 2 attacks from the fighter, and then we get 2 bonus actions. So attack, offhand attack, attack, offhand attack, action surge, do that again. And then we also have the Gloomstalker attack the first of battle. So that's a lot of attacks right off the get-go. I think it's like 7 attacks that we can do. Very powerful build, and usually multi-classing this many classes doesn't have that much synergetic effect, but this one in particular does. So I hope you found this video useful, and if you did, please hit the subscribe button below. It really helps with the channel, and I appreciate all the support, and I'll see you all in the next video.